Now, whenever we don't know something, we naturally head to Google, type it into the research box, and hundreds, if not thousands of pages come up that tell us what we need to know, or a version of what we need to know. But how do we know which is the right one? And when it comes to our pets, how do you know you can trust that an internet vet is telling you the right thing? How do you know that the information that you're reading is applicable to your own dog or cat, your situation, that you find yourself in the situation of your family? How can you trust an internet vet? Hi, I'm Dr. Alex from Our Pets Health, helping you and your pet to live healthier, happier lives. If it's your first time here, then consider subscribing to make sure that you don't miss out on future videos just like this one. Okay, so how do you trust an internet vet? How do you know that what you're reading is right for your pet and for your situation? The first thing to say is that vets can't diagnose over the internet. If you're reading something, if someone is answering your question and giving you a specific diagnosis, then I would be very cautious. There's a lot of different factors, and a few sentences or a few paragraphs in history doesn't substitute an actual personal visit. It doesn't substitute a clinical exam. So I would be cautious of trusting anybody who's giving specific diagnosis over the internet. Vets also can't give specific medical advice over the internet. So it may be that your pet, you know, has been diagnosed with a certain condition, and that diagnosis was reached by your own personal vet, and you're asking specifically for your individual pet what treatment should be given, maybe what drug dose should be given, even what drug should you use. Well, again, a trusted vet can't give that advice over the internet. There's no way that I can possibly know every single thing that's gone on in your pet's history in their past. There's no way I can know maybe what drugs they've had, every test that they've had, what those specific results were. So no vet should and no vet can give specific medical advice over the internet. What you'll read on a lot of these sites is that it's for information purposes only, it's for education and to some extent entertainment, but we cannot give specific advice. So there is no way that anyone who is giving advice on the internet can claim that it is for your specific pet, and there's no way that they will say it just completely replaces your own personal vet's specific recommendations. And the reason for this, the other reason for this, is that to give advice, to give specific treatment courses, a client-patient relationship needs to form. And that can only really be formed in person by having face-to-face contact, by actually placing your hands on the animal, by giving them a full and thorough clinical exam, by reading through their history, by looking at any lab tests. And all of these things are vital to be able to kind of do what's best for your pet. Very often people will come to me with preconceived ideas. They'll be really worried that their pet has got a certain condition because they've read that, for example, the sign of drinking more can be a result of cancer. Well, that's certainly true, but it's not the most common cause necessarily, especially if it's only a 2-year-old animal. There's lots of different things that can cause these things. And so when we are asking questions, when we're typing in forums, very often we are looking for things that are justifying our anxiety maybe, or we're listening to people who have had a bad experience with a certain condition. But how do you know that that condition is the same that your pet is suffering from? Well, we just don't. So vets can't diagnose over the internet, and vets can't give specific medical advice over the internet. If those things are happening, I'd be extra cautious. And that then brings us to corroborating the information that you're reading. So you might think that you found a brilliant website, that the information is really solid, that there's lots of different resources on there, there's lots of great discussion, they give a list of evidence, but again, be really cautious. You should not trust the first thing you read. You should try and find the same information on a number of different sources, just so that you can see that the same thing is being said multiple times. Now, the reason for this is that we all have our biases, so we all may believe that one thing is really good, whereas some other people will believe that another treatment or another management strategy is going to be better. And neither are necessarily wrong. There's lots of different ways that we can do things. There's lots of different ways that we can approach different cases. There's lots of different ways that we can approach the same case. But it's important that the key facts that are being delivered are the same on several different sites. And that allows us not to be taken in by people who are maybe speculating, who have strong beliefs about something that really isn't maybe as proven as they would suggest. So really we need to make sure that we have the same information being delivered by a number of different sources, and that obviously includes what anything that I'm saying. I would really hope that you would not take my word at face value. We've never met. We've never had a face-to-face discussion. I've never seen your pet. So I'd really encourage you to look for different sources that's giving the same information. And there are some really great websites out there as well that I'll put a few links down in the description. But it's important that you jump on board. Also, there's only a limited amount of space. There's only a limited amount of time maybe that can be put into writing articles. And so you might find that in 2 different articles, most of it will be the same, but one will give you a few extra tips that's not in the other articles. So by looking at different sources, we can just really try and get the most out of that research that we're doing. Okay, and so that brings me on to evidence. So is there evidence behind what is being suggested? Or does it consist of just anecdotes, so just stories about maybe cases or patients they've seen or their own pets? Personal experiences are a real bad form of evidence when we're taking a population or a condition as a whole, because we're all incredibly complicated individuals. Our bodies are very complicated, and what's right for one is certainly not necessarily right for another. Conspiracy theories are another thing that's out there, and it's quite depressing sometimes as a vet when you go on to a lot of these different forums and they're spouting that all vets are corrupt, they're all in the pockets of some pharmaceutical company or some food company. It's ridiculous, but there's a lot of that out there. A lot of people are really taken in, but have a little think about things. Does the information seem valid? Is there a lot of data behind that? And again, corroborate, check on different websites. Are they saying the same thing? Okay, so is there evidence behind what they're saying, or does it just all consist of anecdotes or conspiracy theories? Are they pushing hard in a specific direction, such as all conventional medicine is evil, or you really need to try this supplement, which by the way I'm selling? Are they adamant that proven therapies, such as homeopathy, are really the best option? Are they letting you know what side effects are possible with a given treatment? If there are no side effects on one hand at all, then how are they working? If they are working, then what are they hiding? Now, conventional medicines obviously all come with some side effects as well, as do herbal medications. So if there are really no side effects, then firstly, is the medication doing anything? But secondly, are they maybe hiding something? Do you feel that they're not giving you the whole truth? And that's certainly possible, and that's not acceptable either. Ideally, any information you read should be giving you a balanced view. It should be saying, yes, these are the benefits of this specific treatment, this specific management, this specific diagnosis, but also these are the potential implications. There is a small risk of side effects. This may happen to your pet. It's important that any discussion is open and it's honest, and that is one way that you know that you can potentially trust what you're reading. So it's very important that you have trust in what you're reading when it comes to healthcare for ourselves and for our pets. And that's really maybe one way to answer how you can trust an internet vet. Lastly, anything that you read on the internet, it does not replace the most important person or one of the most important people in your pet's healthcare team, and that is their individual vet. So if you don't feel that you can trust what they're saying, then there may be a reason for that, and at that point you should look to changing your vet, maybe to getting a second opinion. Well, undoubtedly the vast majority of vets really have only your pet's welfare at heart. It's really important that we have a personal rapport with the person that you're dealing with. And undoubtedly there's no way that one person can get on with absolutely everybody they come across. So it's really important that you trust your personal vet. And if you don't, for whatever reason that might be, then look at getting a second opinion. And that second opinion shouldn't be just through the internet. That should be actually physically taking your pet to the vet, having that conversation, letting them look through that past history, letting them examine your pet. And that really is the most important thing. Anyone who's giving you good, thorough advice on the internet would say exactly the same. So I hope that helps you answer the question of how can you trust an internet vet. In one way, you can't in another way, there are things that you can look for that maybe can help give you a sense that they are being open and honest and providing reliable information. And I hope that that's what you find at ourpetshealth.com, and I hope that that's what you think that I'm providing you. So I hope you found this interesting today. If there's anything that you'd like me to discuss in the future, then please just leave a comment down below. But until next time, I'm Dr. Alex from ourpetshealth.com, because they're family.